Well, welcome to the Speak with People podcast. My name is Jason Raitz, and I will be your host today. I'm so honored that you are joining us for this time together. Here at the Speak with People podcast, we believe that healthy communication is oxygen for our relationships and our leadership. And so when we speak with people, we breathe life into them. And when we speak at them, we breathe destruction into them. And so really the choice is for each of us, whether we speak with, which is healthy communication, or we speak at, which is unhealthy communication. So whether that's one-on-one, on a team, from a stage, from behind a screen, we believe healthy communication is the right decision. And so we hope this time together inspires you, challenges you, encourages you to make your words matter and to choose healthy communication. So thank you again for joining us, for being a part of our podcast family. Well, today I'm so excited about what we are talking about. One, because our guest is someone who has inspired me like crazy from afar online. Just how he posts and communicates and encourages is just so incredible. And so I was just so blessed when he said that he would be on. But we're diving into the importance of talking about our physical health, Now, don't turn off the podcast or press pause. I know for some of us, this is a really tough topic, but why would we talk about this on a communications podcast? Well, because when our physical health improves, many areas in our life improve as well. And one of them being our communication. Our confidence goes through the roof. And so today we're going to tackle questions like, do I need to care about my physical health in order to be a healthy communicator? Doesn't matter if I'm physically fit. Will it actually really affect my communication? What happens in my communication when I invest time into my health? And how do I transform from where I am? So in this week's podcast, we're joined by Jason Yost. He's a transformational wellness coach. He's the coach. He's a coach. He's the author of the new Rhythm Journal, and he's just really worked at some amazing organizations. And so now he is out on his own, helping many, many leaders get to a place where they are transformed and just living in a healthy way. And so welcome, Jason. Thank you so much for being on the Speak with People podcast.
Oh my gosh, Jason, I am so thrilled to be here to connect with you and your community. And we're going to have a good time today.
I love it. Well, hey, before we jump in, I know I told just like a little snippet of your story, but I'd love if you fill in our listeners, more of your story, who you are, where you're from, what you do, your family, all that kind of stuff.
Yes, for sure. I live in the Northeast area. Some would call it the South. Some would call it the North, depending on who you talk to, but it's kind of mid-state. We're in Maryland, and we live in a nice town between Annapolis, which is the capital of Maryland, and Washington, D.C., which is the capital of the nation. So it's a cool little spot. We're on 2.5 acres here. We have a barn. We have a dog. I've got 2 beautiful girls. Next, in like 14 days, my oldest will be 10. And my youngest is 7, will be 8 in April, and my beautiful wife. And we enjoy where we live. We enjoy kind of the rhythm that life gives us. Historically, I spent some time helping churches in the music and creative space. That's where I spent most of my career, so to speak. I'm speaking as if I feel like I'm older than I am. I'm still pretty young. I do want to say that. I'm only 40, which was a milestone that I hit back in December. So it's definitely on my, reticular activating system. But I was able to spend some time at National Community Church in DC as a worship leader and campus pastor there. And after my time there at Liquid Church in New Jersey, helping them with their creative and worship ministry as well. And then we got to a place, my wife and I, where we just were kind of stirring inside, felt like maybe there was something different. Maybe there was, her dad is a pastor. Her mom's a social worker. I was a pastor. She was a social worker. It was kind of like not a midlife crisis, but, we were in our young 30s. And we were getting out of survival mode, like when you have with kids, they were, becoming after toddlers, that space. And we were just like, what would life look like if we created it? Would it be any different? What would it look like? And one of our core, we figured out what our values were. And one of that especially for me, was just to be available to my kids and to my wife. And so we transitioned from full-time church staff and into remote work. And so I got a job at Samaritan's Purse and as a national director of large church partnerships, which was awesome. Really love that. Gave us time with family, but then also, great purpose of what they do, connecting with churches and relationships overseas. But something happened that was a real catalyst to kind of what we're going to talk about today. I had just started the job, was so excited. Now I went from skinny jeans, long t-shirts every single day to having to wear a suit and tie. So I had to go purchase. I did not own one. I had to go purchase a suit and tie. I was flying to headquarters, to do orientation, to get the picture so you'd have it on your badge, be able to get all the things and fly all over the place. And I got my profile picture back, and it literally stopped me in my tracks. And I was like, I took it to my wife. I said, Shelly, is this me? And she said, well, yes. And it was really an awakening for me of, man, I've gotten to a place subconsciously that I don't really like. The way that I looked, the way that I was feeling. I knew going out to communicate to some high level leaders that I wasn't going to be able to show up in a way that I really wanted to. And so that brought me on a journey of taking care of my health, my physical health. And so I reached out for help, got somebody to help me, and ended up losing 60 pounds. And it just really transformed my life. Just that discipline transformed my life and opened my eyes to what else could be possible, And then I started running. I started running half marathons, 5Ks. I started biking, doing 30-mile just stuff that I'd never done before, Jason. Like literally, that's not who I was. And then, once I started to get my health in check, it just opened some doors. And then we started to get, honestly, my wife, she did the same thing. She ended up losing 60 pounds. And it transformed us and our family. And then naturally, because we have been in spaces where we're in public, we live out loud, we have large networks, people started asking, what in the world are you guys doing? What in the heck has happened? And so, it just happened to where we were able to create our own business out of it and add value for people, really help people. And I was working at Samaritan's Purse. Shelly was growing the business, helping people. And then we just grew it to a place where we were both able to do this together, which has really been a dream of ours, like 50 and up, 55 plus,
Right.
Like maybe one day we'd be able to do something together like this. And so we're blessed. We're honored. We work from home and we have clients all over the nation, and we're able just to add some great value from the experiences and the knowledge that we've received to give it back to people.
Wow. That's just absolutely incredible.
We're super honored and super excited about it.
What a great journey. Well, going way back to your story in the very beginning, I had the time of my life, junior year of high school in Annapolis, because we visited the Naval Academy. And I can remember walking around thinking, this is the coolest town I've ever been in.
Yeah, we love it. Old Town Annapolis.
Yeah.
The brick streets and the water and the sun rising and setting. It's really nice.
Just
we
incredible.
Go down there often.
Oh, I love it. Well, hey, let's jump in and talk about this. But as we're considering this, is it true from your perspective, what you've learned in your business and then coaching, so many leaders in your own life, everything changes when we get our physical health in order? Is that like an overstatement? Is that, correct me where I'm wrong, but, tell me what you think about that.
Yeah, honestly, Jason, I believe I've heard that before. So when I heard it, it very much intrigued me. And then personally going through it, it is absolutely true. One of the terms, actually, if I turned the computer around, you could see it. We have a large kind of mural in our office, and it's a rising tide lifts all ships. And we just talk about with our clients and our coaches on our teams that, once you get physically healthy, it literally is the rising tide that begins to lift all ships. even for, personally in our life, we were stressed out, we were emotionally stressed out, we were burnt out, we weren't financially stable. And when we got our health figured out, it's that discipline that you put your body through and your mind through, but then also it's the self-efficacy that begins to develop in your life, the confidence that, oh, if I did it here, I bet you I can do it here, and because you find a lot of it is conscious living and habit formation. And so you can put those habits in different areas and buckets of your life and begin to see that rise as well. So I absolutely believe it's true.
That's incredible. So, when it comes to leaders, they're in a workplace, they're on a team, as they're trying to deal with all the stress and the amount of work that they have to do, then they're trying to, deal with their friends and family and life, and they're just trying to live everything. Why is it so hard for us sometimes as leaders, as people, to just talk about the physical rut, that we get into with our health? Because it seems like, and maybe I'm only speaking from my perspective, but you get into this place where, and maybe it's because shame starts to take over and you're like, I just don't want anybody to bring this up. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to mention it one more time. Yes, I'm overweight. Yes, I haven't worked out in a while. Why do you think it's so hard for us to talk about?
Yeah. And I think the word that you mentioned, I think is it in our society. I think it's shame-based, unfortunately. Because if you just look at the science of it, it's habit-based. So if you're in a place and space now, you're going to need to shift some behaviors to create some habits that are going to give you your desired outcome. It's literally that simple as far as the formula goes. It's not that simple, but as far as the formula goes, you just change some of your habits. But there's so much shame around, how you're feeling, how you're perceived. And then also, if you're in control of that. And so the only way that you're going to change that is if you do something about it. And so if you're not ready to do something about it, it's not something you're going to want to talk about. Because it's almost, you have a little bit of an idea of what it's going to take for you to get to your goal.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So what do we need, to get to that place where we're ready? I know everybody's at a different place, but are there any common characteristics, where, especially you as a coach, you look for to help people get to that place where they finally go, okay, I need to make the change?
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's an awesome question. And I think it's different for everybody. And everybody has their time when they are ready. And it's one, it could be an absolute need where it's a medical situation. And so there's a pain point there where it's life or death. It's like, or else, And so then you need to get to a place where you need to find out what it is that you need to do in order to change your habits to reduce that pain. So we make choices for two reasons. One is to get rid of pain, to reduce pain in our life, or to increase pleasure, right? And so we need to create a story around one of those in order to move forward with a decision. Most of the time, pain gets us to move more than pleasure, right? Because when we're in a situation, we're just talking about health. So when we're in a situation where we're overweight and we know we need to get to a better BMI or a healthier weight, and how we, so we think what would change, we'd be at this number. Maybe we've never been at that number before. We'd be able to ride the ride. We'd be able to go on an airplane without the extender. We'd be able to do these things, which sounds good. But if you tell yourself, if I don't do this, I might not be able to walk my kid down the aisle. If I don't do this, I might not be able to get up and play baseball with my kid. What is he going to think of me? If I don't do this, what is my spouse, am I giving her my level best? Am I, those types of things. So you literally need to get to a place where the pain of change is greater than the joy of staying the same. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And that gets you to a place of movement.
That is so good. I mean, I know, in my own life, that is 100%, true. I have spent years and years, this horrifically awful cycle, for
Hmm.
years and years and years. I have a bad back, and I've just used that as my excuse of why I can't deal, with the change, because the pain is too great and it's the only thing that gives me pleasure. And,
Yeah.
gives me just that relief, Chick-fil-A, thank you so much, for helping
Yeah.
me.
Yep.
Um, and I did, I've done this a couple times in my life, where I was able to get a handle on the pain and then attack, that change, to be able to do that. And that's just amazing, to be able to
Yeah.
do that. Can you give us some advice on how to assess, where we are when it comes to our physical health? I mean, you just hit on a
Sure.
couple of those things, but like if the thought of like walking your child down the aisle or, some of those kind of things, but are there some like assessment areas where we need to go, ooh, okay, I need to really start working on this?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is, textbook is our body mass index, a healthy BMI. That's according, that's math according to your height, your age, your weight. I'm not like that's a good kind of rubric to get an idea. But, so for me, I'm 5'9", I'm 190 pounds, but I'm 12% body fat. So according to BMI at 190 pounds, I'm obese, right? So you have to look at it a little differently. It gives you an idea. And again, that's the mass index. So according to stats of all of these people, this is where you should be. But, when you have a certain amount of extra weight and extra fat cells, then you're at an increased risk for lots of different diseases as you get older. So you are investing in your future by starting now. It's strategic, as leaders, as in thinking about, the best next step. It's definitely a strategic foresight for us to think, how can I get my health in order? You know what I mean? As communicators, I need to be high energy. I need to be aware. I need to be in conscious mindset. So how can I get my health to a place where I'm able to give 100% of me and be totally present in order to do those things?
Yep. Huh. Okay. So many people are stunted because of negative voices that fill their head. So
Yeah.
why do you think the negative voices get so loud, and why do we listen to them for so long, before getting to this place of going, wait a minute, I don't have to listen to you. I can start to move.
Yeah. One of the things that I've been encouraging myself personally, because it's never something you're going to master, right? It's more something, how can I manage this? Not necessarily master it, but manage it. And I'm encouraging myself in this as I'm saying this out loud, is we need to speak to ourselves more than we listen to ourselves.
Ooh.
Right?
Wow.
So
Wow.
sometimes, most of the time, I am my worst critic, right? The way that I talk to myself, I wouldn't let anyone in this world talk to
Yep.
me or my family the way that I talk to myself,
Right.
and unfortunately, the cycle happens where we get an idea, say, hey, I want to get healthy, I want to lose weight. So we try something, and then whether we don't have the support or we don't have the consistency, we end up stop doing that. We're not consistent with it and we give up. And so then we are in the process of breaking a promise to ourselves. And so then we lose confidence with ourselves to keep trying this again, because we're always going to fall short.
Wow.
Right. So what's the point?
Yeah.
And that's where we need to stop listening to ourselves and stop talking to ourselves, because any forward movement in that direction is positive. Any forward movement at all. And so when we're listening too much to the negative talk, it paralyzes us to move towards our desired outcomes, which is the exact opposite of what we want.
Right.
So it's more affirmation, self-talk. I can do this. I got this. You wake up, I'm going to hit my goals today. I'm going to drink. I'm going to drink half my body weight in ounces today. I'm going to hit, this many calories. I'm going to, it's that self-talk of just, of you're leading yourself, self-leadership. You're leading yourself to your desired goal. So what is it that I want to accomplish? Identify that, figure out the habits it's going to take for you to get to that outcome. And then literally day by day, just do it.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, we could talk about, oh my goodness. I mean, just that process and getting there and that help. But I want to turn the corner just for a second. Like, as you have led over the years and have made the transformation in your life, have you seen your communication health, your communication confidence, your communication skills improve because, you've made a priority with your physical health? Do you think that's, one of the, the amazing byproducts of all this for leaders?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely. I have noticed it a lot in my own life. And the main areas that I think is I'm way more in conscious leadership or conscious communication, meaning I'm present. I know what I want to say. I am thinking about what I want to say. I'm listening way more because I'm not as subconscious busy and trying to get through the next moment. It's helped me learn that because, again, the discipline of disciplining your body to eat correctly and to get to a healthy weight, it causes you to be aware of when you're slipping into subconscious living, which would be the robotic mode of just, let's get this going. Let's get next. I'm hungry. I'm going to take this. I'm going to put it in my mouth. I'm going to consume it. Oh, I'm hungry again. I'm going to consume it. I'm not thinking about what I'm eating. I'm not planning what I'm eating. I'm not concerned about what I'm putting in my body. Similar, to as we're communicating. Okay, I'm on my phone. I'm looking, what are you going to say? What am I going to say next? Okay, let's just keep this going. Okay, oh, I got to leave. I got this next thing. Where now that I have disciplined my body, disciplining my mind as I'm communicating with someone, I'm a way better listener. So I know how to communicate back to them. I'm way more present with them. And I'm way more in a sense where I'm here to add value to them rather than what can I get out of this or how can I finish this quickly so I can move on to the next thing.
Yeah. Wow. Absolutely. Are there any keys? Like, I know that there'll be people listening right now, leaders listening who are going, okay, this is great, but what are some of those, keys to helping people, stick with it? To be able to make these kind of conscious decisions?
Yeah, for sure. And that's an incredible question. I think, one of the things that we always talk about is, you actually shouldn't diet in the dark. Like we're made to be in community. And I think sometimes people are very much concerned about what others think of them too much.
Yeah.
And as we are in community with people, that's how we're learning and growing together. And so when you diet in the dark, you can quit in the dark and there's no accountability and no one else knows.
Wow. Right.
So, accountability measure is a huge one. Making sure you're telling someone, whether that's your family, whether it's your friends, whether it's a coworker doing it with somebody else.
Yep.
Because you're putting accountability in place. You're leading yourself so that when it gets hard, when it gets tough, you're not bowing out quietly. Somebody else is encouraging you. Someone else knows you're there. And so that adds that level of accountability. And honestly, I'm biased, of course, because I am a coach, but since I started reaching out to a coach to help me get to desired goals, I've saved way more time, way more headaches, way more energy to get to my goal than ever before trying to figure it out on my own.
Yep. Absolutely.
It's so true. You'll get to your desired goal way faster when you reach out to somebody for help. So accountability and then living in community, with people. It's very, I've coached a lot of clients, a lot of clients. Very few people can do this by themselves in the dark, just with not telling anyone, not knowing anyone. It's so simple to get discouraged and just throw in the towel when you're doing it quietly.
Yeah. Ooh,
So
that's
it's
so
done
good.
better in community, just like life,
Yeah.
we're supposed to be in community. And so it's just a part of living.
So turn the corner just a second. So a lot of what you do, what I can tell from, kind of following along online is you do a lot of communication online. Like, what have you learned about, are there any wins or, some big things you've learned from, communicating online regularly, that you could, pass on to people?
Yeah, for sure. I'm so grateful for it. Literally, technology enables us to build relationships, connect with people that are thousands of miles away, right at our fingertips. Some of clients become really good friends because you're able to communicate online. A couple things that I've realized is just like health, nothing trumps consistency, of just stay consistent, be available. The second one I would say would be your foundational approach should be to add value to people.
Yep.
Not just a billboard, if that makes sense. Not just here, this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm eating, this is how, but how can you can share that with them. But, if I'm taking a picture of what I'm eating, I'm doing it so that Jason, for instance, can see what I'm eating and learn how I made it and try to put that into his context. Is this something he could benefit from when he's busy, when he's on the road? He could just stop here and this would be a better choice instead of this choice. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So I'm always thinking, how can I add value? And then one of the biggest things, which is also in line with the algorithm of social media, is to have conversations behind the scenes, connecting with people, asking questions, just trying to, again, live in community, be human, be available, show up for people, and do that in messages and conversations with people. Those have been the three big things that have helped grow our business and add value to people.
Oh, those are incredible. Hey, tell us just as we kind of wrap up the conversation, tell us about the new rhythm journal that you wrote and talk about what happens with this.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a mindset management journal, you could say. These are, as I was transforming physically, I was learning about how to transform my mind and just have a better, more positive mindset, and, goal setting and thinking about affirmations and talking to myself rather than listening to myself. And so I saw a lot of people's, journals, a lot of affirmation things. And I was carrying around all these journals every time I traveled or every time I went somewhere. And then Shelly and I kept getting questions. How do you guys start your mornings? How do you guys journal? And I just thought, what if I took all the best of a lot of these journals, the things that we actually do in the mornings, and created one so that people could use that to help them? And so that's what I did. It's literally the morning routine that we had that helped us transform physically and in our minds. And so you wake up and it's 5 things about gratitude. It's 3 affirmations of how you want to show up today. And then there's a few question prompts of, is there something I can get enthusiastic about to stay excited today? Is there an obstacle that could throw me off today? If so, if it happens, what are the best ways that I could deal with that? Yep. So again, it's helping you move from subconscious living every day just as it comes to more self-leadership and conscious living throughout your day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Well, hey, as we finish up our conversation, I wanted to ask you some rapid fire questions
for our
audience to kind of keep getting to know you. But do you have a favorite book when it comes to transformation and physical health?
Yes, I do. One that I've read, I'm actually reading it again this year, it's called High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard.
Oh, yeah.
It's really good because he marries that physical health, but then also high performance habits as far as leadership and productivity. He marries them together really well. So that's a really good book.
I love it. Is there a podcast that you really enjoy, either for, leadership or for, pure
Yeah.
enjoyment?
Yeah, I dig, right now I dig the Ed Milet podcast. Really good personal development. He has guys on there that are talking about finance, mindset, physicality, productivity, those types of things. It's really good.
Okay. Love it.
Yeah.
And then lastly, maybe wrong to ask a health coach about this, but are you more of a Chick-fil-A person, more of a PDQ person?
Tell me, what is PDQ?
You don't have PDQ in Washington and Baltimore.
No.
I'll tell you what PDQ is. PDQ is an attempt to try to be anywhere near as good as Chick-fil-A. That's what PDQ is.
I'm going to go with Chick-fil-A.
All right.
That's awesome. Is that Florida thing?
Yeah. Maybe
never
South,
heard of it.
PDQ,
Okay.
Zaxby's, both of those are trying to be Chick-fil-A.
Awesome. I love it.
Well, hey, Jason, tell us where we can find you online, where people can go to find more information about what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a website that's jyost.com, JAYYOST.com. And then, you can find my podcast information, the journal's on there. And then as far as social, I'm just Jason Yost, at Jason Yost on IG and Facebook. So happy to connect and I love talking to your community and connecting with you today as well, man.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. I know that just how you operate online has been such an encouragement for me. I was in such a rut, through the summer and the fall, and finally was able to, just put the stake in the sand. And so thanks for all the encouragement, the challenge that you do from afar, and just appreciate who you are and the leadership that you bring to the world. So thank you for being on the podcast today.
Thank you, man. It's been my honor.
Absolutely. Well, for the rest of you, thank you so much for being a part of the Speak with People podcast family. Let me just say this. If you work in an organization and you can tell that your team members are struggling with communicating with each other in healthy ways, maybe some destructive or negative talk has crept into your culture as an organization, maybe your leadership is trying to figure out how to kind of corral it all. Speak with People comes alongside of organizations and helps them with a healthy communication employee training seminar. So if that would be something that would be of interest for you, of how to elevate the importance and practice of healthy communication in your team and your leadership, please reach out to us. Just simply email jason@speakwithpeople.com. And we'd love to let you know the different packages that are available. Well, again, thank you for being a part of this podcast. It just means the world that you listen, you download, you share it, and it really means the world when you leave a review. So really, thank you so much for that. Again, we believe that healthy communication is oxygen for your relationships and your leadership. So when we speak with people, we breathe life into the world. And when we speak at people, we breathe destruction. So the choice is yours. And we hope today encouraged you, inspired you. We're going to put all the notes and all the different references that Jason talked about in the show notes. So make sure that you check out in those. And so thank you again for being a part of the podcast, and we will see you next week.